So here we are again, Zwift number 30 this time. Same route as we did on Tuesday night, and it's Friday night tonight. This is stage 2, Shimano Find Your Fast, 2 laps around out of Scotland. 22.5 kilometre ride with 209 metres of inclines. So you're obviously always dictated by the group around you as to how you make your start. But I did have a plan to ease into this race and not put out a huge amount of watts at the start. So that was actually what I was able to do. You can see my average watts there. 1 minute into the race, they are at the 220 average, which was pleasing. So I was hoping that this was going to allow me to conserve my energy going into the race going forward. So 54 riders in the race in total, and just blobbing up with the rest of the group and just taking it easy for these first few kilometers, which are relatively flat before we get to some considerable descents and inclines. So I'm at the back of this front group at the moment. So we've got around about 45 riders. So about 10 riders have been dropped so far. The course is quite undulating through these first few kilometres before a few inclines, which can split the group up. But yeah, I was just hoping to keep hold of the back of the group. My average watts is slowly increasing because, like I said, I'd started off by putting out a low amount of watts. But you can see as I'm talking, my average watts is increasing gently. Shortly we'll go up the first incline in the race, which is a gradual long, here we go, incline. It can take it out of you a bit. I decided that what I would do, you can see my watts increasing slowly, is get up out of the seat and try and just pedal gently in a standing position, not put loads of watts down, but just by being out of my saddle, just being able to power up gently over the top of the hill, and it kept me in contention with the rest of the group as we came up over the top. So I'm a little stretched at this point, and I was just a bit concerned that by having the anvil, I might not be able to utilise it as to the best of my ability. I could see I was on the start of a descent, so I dropped the anvil at this point, but didn't really help me too much because I was still on a relatively flat section by the time that the anvil had finished powering up. So at least it gave me a feather up, which was going to which I was going to be able to use on the inclines going forward, because there's 2 quite quick inclines in the coming kilometres. So that helped me in some ways, but didn't really use the anvil to the best of my ability there. So you can see I'm in a good position, 10th at the moment. We've all blobbed up. I still think there's around about 35 riders at this point. I don't think we've dropped anybody else, but so maybe there are still about 40. So what I decided to do is put a load of power down just as we hit that yellow section. It was up around the 500 watts, and because it's a short, punchy incline there, by just putting down that power for a few seconds, you can get over that orange section, the steepest incline, and just keep the power up. In a good position here, right at the front of the group, top 15 riders, as we start to drop down the descents, and just being able to ease off, get your heart rate back to where you want it to be, and be able to just sit in and take advantage of the draft. There's another slight incline here. My heart rate's at 157, which is not really where I want it to be. I don't want it to be up over 160. I again power up. I think I'm up out of the seat again here. You can see 450 watts, just trying to get a good position and just recognizing that just by putting in those short little bursts for 4 or 5 seconds, you can increase your position greatly and help yourself a great deal. So looking at the mini map as we drop down this hill, you can see there's a few riders off out the front. I'm not sure who they were. I didn't zoom in to find out, but 26th position for me, and right in the middle of this front group is really pleasing. I'm often dropped and chasing the front group by this point in some of these other previous races over the last few weeks. So you can see that we all blob up here, and those racers out the front have all been caught, and it's really pleasing how it's going at the moment. Average watts is now up to 250, which is also very pleasing. So let's just see how this all pans out. So we've got about 3 kilometres out in the countryside before we get back into the city, and my main objective here is just to try and reduce my heart rate, keep the cadence up, keep up with this front pack, and just take it easy and just try and regain some strength and power at the moment. So it's looking good. Slight incline here, somebody goes off the front, and but I just want to sit in with the group. Like I said, the heart rate's 152, which is a really good heart rate for me to be able to just keep at during the race. I don't want to get too much higher. If my heart rate's at 150, then that's going to allow me to just put a spurt in from time to time. So as we come up these slight inclines in the outskirts of the city, we've got C. Costa out in the front. He's made a break for it. I'm not sure what his strategy is. The rest of the group are powering up nicely, and are we going to give him a chance to get away? I'm not sure whether we are or not. You know, you can see that the group, as I'm talking, you can see that on the mini map that we're all stretched out. We've got a few inclines to come. We're going to make a right-hand turn around towards the Clyde Kicker, and then we've got this big incline to come. I've got a feather. I'm not sure. Oh, I do kick it. I do hit it. So uh, I increase my position. I get up over 500 watts. I feel strong again. So just getting up into the top 10 again, and C. Costa is brought back to the rest of the group. I'm able to ease off. I've got an anvil. I don't think I drop it very quickly. I've got these slight inclines again, making sure that I push down the watts just before the incline starts. There's another incline to coming up here, and the problem is that by the time I've done those few inclines, I'm starting to waver a little bit here, and I just have to completely ease off. But a nice position to be in this time round. Not somewhere where you normally see me when I'm racing. I'm normally hanging on right at the back by this point. So look, top 4 or 5 is a nice position to be in. We've got a slight left-hand bend here, then a 90-degree left-hand bend coming up before the start finish, and being in the top 10, thinking we've got a front group of around about 35 riders. I'm really pleased with how it's going so far. Average watts is still quite close to 250. So let's see what this last lap brings us. So hoping to ease it off now for the next few kilometres. We're going to head out of the city in a minute and back out into the countryside with those rolling hills with not too many inclines for about 3 or 4 kilometres before we hit some of those steeper inclines. So yeah, we're down to about 35 riders now. I'm still right up at the front, which is nice to see. Able to dictate a little bit more what I'm able to do and be able to respond to the riders around me. If they make a push for it, I've been able to follow them. If I've been struggling around the back, I've been able to push just to bridge that gap so that I can stay in contact with everybody. So you can see there, I was in 21st position, and I don't think there was too many more riders behind me than that. Maybe about 30 at this point. I'm not sure. And with it being a Friday night and St. Valentine's night, there wasn't too many riders that I recognised here. Um, it was nice to see that Beeblebrook, who has his own YouTube channel, he was in here, and you can see him just to my right hand side, highlighted with a blue glow in the black and red. He was riding and doing well as he usually does, and usually, well, always has finished ahead of me. He was riding. Drew Fuller, I think he's ridden before in one of the races that I've seen before. And the only other name that I recognised was Ross Davidson. He was in here and in with his front group. So you can see by the top of this incline, I'm still in a really good position, which is lovely. I did that same strategy of getting up out of the saddle and just not really powering off hard, but just being able to increase my watts slightly, but taking it easy and just being able to manage it more effectively. But you can see my heart rate 169 there. That's not where I want it to be, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to ease off. I've got this descent coming up. Last time round, I dropped the anvil around about here, but still found that I was on a pretty much flat section. So that anvil of increasing your weight, which will help you on the descent, didn't really have any impact. So I kept hold of it on this occasion. I still haven't popped it. I've got the more steeper part of the incline to come. It meant that I didn't get the power up on the top of the hill that we've just passed about half a kilometre ago, but that was the situation that I had to take into consideration. So I popped it. I would have had an extra power up if I'd used it early, but the anvil wouldn't have had any impact. So I've powered up again going up through here. I want to be able to power up all the way up through this red section. Want to be able to ease off during this blue section, but and not lose my position. And again, right up at the front again, which is really pleasing to see. I had to ease off as we came up over the flats, but I'm hoping that the draft of the people coming up and around me would help me. So that was really pleasing. And we've only got 6.3 kilometres to go, so feeling really positive about how this is going so far. So exactly 5 kilometres to go, and you can see how I'm all stretched out here. And then from being in a really good position, it's all going a bit pear shaped. There's a group of around about 15 riders out in the front. You can see that some of them are trying to catch hold of the group, but we've been distanced slightly now, and whether we can catch hold of them is another matter. But you can see as we go through a couple of bends that we actually do blob up, and we're back to that situation where we've got probably around about 25 riders left. Because I'm on double speed here with the video, already down to 4 kilometers. And previously, when I did the race on Tuesday, I would have been dropped by now and been heading backwards in the positions. But feeling really pleased that just with 4 kilometers to go, I'm in that front group. Again, slight burst from the front of the group and I'm out the back, but I'm able to catch hold of them again. So with 3.5 kilometers to go. I've got a feather, which I'm probably going to use on the Clyde kicker. So let's see how this all pans out. So I watched Beeblebrock's video from Wednesday night doing exactly the same route, and he was mentioning that this slight incline up into the city was a point where some riders try and make a sneaky break for it because the opportunities are running out and everyone's expected to make that burst on the Clyde kicker and some of the other inclines in the city, so they go for this one, and it does stretch out a bit, and I am hanging on round the back, but yeah, you can see that there's a group there now gone of around 15 riders. But again, you can watch my watts carefully. 180 at the moment, uh, bursting up over 300, 400, just to catch hold of the rest of the group, and it's that little technique that I've used. I'm not saying I'm a superhero or anything like that, but it's just that strategy that I'm using just to keep hold of them. I put another little burst in there on the incline, hoping that I would be able to go up the Clyde kicker. I hit my power up here uh, in an attempt to get in and amongst people, and you can see I'm going forwards rather than backwards in the positions, but we are stretched out quite a lot now, and ultimately really here now is where I've left the front of the group, but really pleased that with only 1.4 kilometers to go, this is the first point where I've lost contact with the rest of the group. A few little ups and downs towards the end. This is really the last incline as we come up the hill towards this right hand bend, but you can see that the rest of the 18 riders in front of me have left me. So as a respectful Cat D rider, rather than concentrating on the finish, I pan through the rest of the group, and I do actually lose contact with the leader, and I go back out into the countryside for a little bit. So unfortunately I'm just panning through, but here we go. You can see that here's the final stages of the race. So here we have the home straight with Christopher Lubitsch racing against T. van der Sales. Some dodgy moves from Christopher Lubitsch as he crisscrosses across the track. As we zoom back in the green, Lubitsch on the left is passed by van der Sales. Here we have Woodbridge, who finishes fourth, Bresser, who comes across the line in eighth, then Beeblebrock on his YouTube channel coming across in 16th position, and then zooming back to Jay Pomsel, who finishes 19th, just ahead of me, and then Tian Buis coming across in 20th, and here's me in a respectable 21st position, 241 average watts. Well, it says 241. I'm thinking, yeah, look, 240 there. Disgraceful. I've been dropped down a watt there, which has made a huge amount of difference to my well-being. So 240 watts, I think that averaged out at 2.6 watts, which again is a good ride for me. Still want to be up to 2.7, 2.8. I know that a wattage of around about 3.1, 3.2 is only going to allow me to be up by those front riders, but you know, you can clearly see that with only 1.4 kilometers to go, I was up and able to compete with the rest of the group. So that was really, really pleasing, and I felt really good. Didn't really think that I was going to ride well. Friday night is not my most productive night to ride, but it seemed to come off quite well tonight. And here you can see that I'm going to be posting to the rest of the group the video, so there's a few people who I'm assuming will be wanting to see it, and I was able to pan through the group tonight and get some footage of the finish line, which I know some people like to see, and I'll comment on that later. So I'll just post the results for you and strangely, I will be on the second page tonight rather than being about 4 pages back on the results. So here we are. Here's the results. T. Van der Sales at 3.3 watts. I've not seen that on a Cat D race between 210 and 330 watts. Normally, a winner will be around 3.2 or 3.1. Second, C. Lubric or Lubricic, 2.9 watt average. And then we've got Keegan Boother in third, 3.2. And then through to my group, I came in 21st position, averaging 2.6 watts, like I said. Really pleased with how we got on. And a real positive result for me, although it's nothing spectacular coming in 21st position. I'll probably take some credit for where I finished on Zwift Power because I'm obviously, well, I'd like to think I finish above 21st position. So really pleased I made the effort to get on and ride the bike on the Friday night. I'm going to have a ride somewhere on Saturday. I'm not going to video it, but yeah, pleased how this one's gone. I'm not sure of the route for next Tuesday in stage 3, but hopefully it's one that will suit my riding style, and you can ride along with me on Tuesday night, probably around about 6:10. So yeah, thanks for all watching. Just hoping that you can follow me, subscribe to the videos. The numbers are increasing, but to no massive extent. But pleased that some people are showing an interest and are getting some positive comments on things. And just moving forward, really, just hope that more people will continue to ride, which is how it's all going at the moment. So thank you.